What up, what up? It's your boy Reason is coming back once again. We're going with part 2 of my updated N64 collection video series. So this is part 2. Part 1, I think we ended up on Smash Brothers, if I'm not mistaken. So now we're going through, continuing. No particular order once again. Snowboard Kids from Atlas. This game was such a surprising gem. Such a fun time, man. If you're thinking about taking the Mario Kart formula, putting it into the snowboarding arena, and then making it extreme in the sense that it's not just snow tracks. You got grass tracks, desert tracks, amusement parks, just crazy zany fun with some wacky shortcuts, funny, cutesy little characters, and the same mechanic as Mario Kart where you can get power-ups and weapons and just really fuck each other up as you go down the mountain. Real fun, man, especially in multiplayer. And the music is just one of those soundtracks that just sticks in your head, man, and you be humming it all day. Just a great title, man. Nobody saw this one coming. It has a real huge cult following, man. Next, favorite soccer game of all time. I'm not a soccer fan, nor am I a soccer video game fan, but this game actually made soccer video games fun. I remember playing this with 2 or 3 of my friends back in middle school, and we used to play the shit out of this, man. International Superstar Soccer 64 from Konami. Just great fun, man. I rather play this any day than FIFA or even Pro Evolution Soccer. This was my, I know they went from this to Pro Evolution Soccer, but this was my bread and butter. I love this. And the sequel, which sadly I do not own the sequel, but this is the original. Next, the sequel to the previous game before International Superstar Soccer, Snowboard Kids 2. Took everything the original did and just amped it up. It gave you more options, more variety. Just great fun, man. The same as the first one, man. I tend to lean more to the original because it was such a surprise, but this one is the same in every way as far as quality. Just a great multiplayer game, especially multiplayer. Next, you got World Driver Championship. This was the Nintendo 64's attempt at an answer to Gran Turismo, because Gran Turismo was that ultra-realistic racing simulator. They tried to do that with this game, but they didn't get as real with the simulation aspect of it. So it still has a little bit of arcadiness in it, but they did their best, and it's fun. It's a fun game, good racer. But they couldn't get the real licenses to all the cars like Ford and Chevy and all the other cars that Gran Turismo had. So they had to make up names for the cars. So you would be looking at a Mustang and you would know it was a Mustang, but they would call it Stallion, stuff like that. But still very good graphics, fun game. And there's a lot of challenge in here. There's a lot of for the racing enthusiasts. This is a good meaty game that'll take you a while to go through. Next, the classic, man. This is my favorite game in the entire franchise. From Super Nintendo to 64 to GameCube, this was my favorite, man. F-Zero X. This game is just a beast. I think it's like 30-something different machines you can pick from. Excuse me, and characters. Captain Falcon and all the originals are in there. Sumo Barath and all of them. But you have a bunch of carts to pick from, or machines, I should call them. Amazing track design, variety of tracks, and the music is just off the chain. That F-Zero rock soundtrack is just pumping out on the N64. It just so addicting, man. I love it, man. And the sense of speed in this game is just bananas. Next, Dark Rift. It's a little-known fighting game. I've said it before. It's one of the better 3D fighters on the N64, and one of the early ones, too. Around the time that this game came out, you had Mace the Dark Age. I think you had, man, I forgot the name of the game, but there's another 3D fighter with a guy on the label that's like a Ryu knockoff with red hair. But in any event, and then War Gods and all that crap. But in any event, Dark Rift was a very good fighter. Straight up, just graphically was beautiful. Good music. Cheesy story, but who cares about story in a fighting game unless you're Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. Those are great stories. But, really, in a fighting game, it's all about the combat. It's all about the gameplay. And it had a very good cast of characters. Unique cast of characters. Great stage design. And just a really good unknown fighter, man. And, of course, I got my Chicago Bulls sticker in the back of it because you know what's up. Next, the greatest... Mario 64 is the greatest game of all time, but it's also the first of its kind. So it's only natural that it would, Nintendo or others would take that formula and improve on it. And Rareware did just that with BanjoKazooie. This is the biggest, well, not biggest, because the sequel is even bigger. But this is a huge, amazing 3D action platformer with open world levels, great cast of characters, great humor, great writing, great music, great everything, man. It's Mario 64 on steroids. Next, NBA Hang Time. This was the NBA Jam of this era, of this generation. 2-on-2 arcade basketball, goodness, hidden characters, different codes like big head mode, you know, always on fire or whatever. Just awesome, man. Extreme dunks. Big time fun in this game, man. Star Wars Episode 1 Battle for Naboo. This was kind of a sequel to Rogue Squadron before Rogue Squadron 2 came out on the GameCube. It was another, I think it was a third game in a deal between Factor 5 and Nintendo, and it came after Rogue Squadron. Better graphics than Rogue Squadron. Better everything, really. Better, bigger open levels, vehicle variety, swapping in and out of different vehicles during your mission, which didn't happen in Rogue Squadron that I can remember. I know what happened in the sequel. But it's just a great game. It's just the thing is, it is in the Episode 1 universe, and like I said, people don't like Phantom Menace for some fucking crazy reason, and so it didn't have as much love. But it's definitely it's a better game than Rogue Squadron, and it's just an amazing Star Wars game that you need to have if you have an N64. Next, Extreme G XG2, right? That's what it's called. XG2, Extreme G, the sequel to Extreme G. It's the first futuristic racer to ever come out on the N64 before F-Zero X. Was Extreme G, the original, and it was just like these racing bikes, futuristic bikes that look like the bikes in Tron, and you're just flying at ultra high speeds, and it's a combat racer because you can get weapons, missiles, lasers, and all that. So it's like, think about Mario Kart in a futuristic bike racer with tracks that have loop-de-loops and pumping techno music the whole time. Super fun, super fast. Next, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. I don't think the camera can catch it. Oh yeah, it does. See, I have the holographic cover. Cart, so you know, it's a collector's cart. I didn't like this game, to be honest. It's the only Zelda game I did not like. Did not even bother finishing it. Maybe one day I'll go back. I know it has a huge following. My cousin, as I said before, loves Majora's Mask. I didn't like the whole 3-day dynamic and having to turn back time over and over and over again, and just the urgency of the moon crashing down on this way. And it wasn't in Hyrule; it was in some other place. So it was like Zelda somewhere else, you know. So it's good. It has the same gameplay as Ocarina of Time, just as good. It's just it did not capture me, but it is one of the best games on the N64 by far. Next, Ready to Rumble Boxing. The game originally came out on the Dreamcast. The N64 version is inferior to the Dreamcast, of course, but it gets the job done. So wacky, crazy, insane, arcade boxer. Have a lot of fun with this game. And unlike my Dreamcast version, this one actually plays. My Dreamcast version is spotless, but it will not read. It's the only game on my Dreamcast collection that doesn't read. Go figure. Next, WCW NWO World Tour. This was the first 3D wrestling game to come out, really. PlayStation 1 tried to imitate it with WCW versus the World. Whack. World Tour, man. This was the first 3D wrestling game with an amazing gameplay engine, amazing grapple system that made the WCW World Tour Revenge, WWF No Mercies, and WrestleMania games the top 4 multiplayer wrestling games on the N64. And of all time, really. Good fun here. Next, we got Namco's Museum 64, a collection of Namco arcade games, Pac-Man, Galaga, Bricks, I think, things of that nature. You know, just arcade collection. Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. I love the Turok Dinosaur Hunter series from its very beginning to its end. I love them all. You got Turok Dinosaur Hunter, the original on N64, which you'll see in a bit. I have it in the collection. The sequel, Seeds of Evil. Turok 3. Turok Rage Wars. Turok Evolution on the GameCube and PS2 and Xbox One, I believe. And then the new Turok, well, not new, but the last Turok I remember coming out on PS3 and 360. I love those games. I love the first-person aesthetic in a lush jungle environment, kind of like Far Cry before Far Cry, with dinosaurs and that epic story. And this was just an amazing game on the N64. Use the expansion pack so you can see the difference between low-res mode and high-res mode, and how much better the game looked, how much better it ran. The enemies, the levels are huge. They're mapped out in actual square footage, so it could take you over an hour to go through one level because it's literally mapped out like a real city or a real jungle or whatever. Awesome achievement on the N64. Acclaim, man. They were hitting on the N64. Next, Cruisin USA, the classic arcade racer, man. Just classic twitchy controls, arcade racing fun, man. Can't really ask for more. I loved it, man. So there's that. NHL 99. Hockey game from EA on the N64. Not bad, not good, just a hockey game. Next, WCW Mayhem. This was after the World Tours and the Revenges, and it's, I forget who made it. Oh, it's EA. So EA had to go and fix what wasn't broken and change the control style, and as a result, this game had good graphics for the time, but the controls were shit, and it just wasn't fun. So, I rarely played this one. Ogre Battle 64, one of the very few RPGs on the N64, and quite honestly, the best one. And it's a very rare game to find. I found that out just through reading up on it. Wish I had the box for it, but it's a very fun RPG, good story, and it's just it's fun. It's one of the first RPGs I ever played that I did enjoy when I wasn't even an RPG fan. And it's long. It's good, nice amount of hours out of that. Again, EA Sports World Cup '98. It's another soccer game on the 64. Like I said, International Superstar Soccer is better. I showed you the sequel to this game earlier, I think in part 1. Here's the original, and one of my favorite N64 games of all time, Goemon Mystical Ninja. This was another one of those games that surprised the shit out of me. When I saw the title, Mystical Ninja, I was a kid, I bought it, and I was like, man, it's going to be like a Shinobi in 3D or whatever. Quirky, funny, fucking hilarious. Japanese game that doesn't make any sense in American standards, but it's just so much fun. It's a 3D action platformer in the veins of a Mario 64 or a BanjoKazooie, but it has a lot of like RPG elements in it, which lend it more towards a Zelda. This was basically what people played while they were waiting for Ocarina of Time to come out. It's such a great game, man, and if you can get around the funny writing and the quirkiness and all that, and give it a shot, it is one of the better 3D action platformers that'll take you on an amazing ride. A good and lengthy amount of hours. I'd say about 15 to 20 hours. You know, like if you do everything, and it's super fun, and the music is just addicting. Great game. I can't say enough good things about Goemon Mystical Ninja. Next, the sequel to the San Francisco Rush, N64 exclusive, Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA. Same formula, same good fun, big time air, crazy shortcuts, exploding cars. But take it out of San Francisco and put it all over the U.S. Hawaii to Las Vegas to New York. Super fun. Super fun. And the stunt mode in this game. Oh my god, there's a stunt mode that you go in there, and it's just ramps and crazy like divots in the road and all that. You just drive around the stunt track just doing flips and trying to get as many flips and rolls and airs you can to get points. Next, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. You know, it's the N64 version. I didn't really like it. This was actually donated to me by, if I'm not mistaken, Mercury, my boy. He donated this to me, and it's cool to have it in the collection. But it's Tom Clancy games. Rainbow Six games were more towards the ultra realistic side of things. So if you got shot once, like that's it, you die. You know, it's like that's too realistic for me. Played it for a little while, made sure it worked. It was cool. It's nice to have it in the collection. I'm sure it's rare. I mean, until I saw this when I got it, I never even knew it existed. Next, man, Bumble. This was a fun 3D aerial shooter, man, where you play like this cybernetic robot bee, but you're in like the insect world, so plants are huge and all that, and the wasps and all the dragonflies and the enemies. It's like an Ace Combat type of thing, but you're these robot insects and you're just blowing each other the fuck out of the sky. Super fun, great music too, man. The theme for opening theme for this game, not to be fucked with, man. Next, Excitebike 64. The classic Excitebike on the NES. This was the 64 version of it. 3D, great graphics. The same announcer as Wave Race, as I've said before. If you play Wave Race and play this game back to back, you'll notice the announcer is identical. But you know, the same thing. Big mounds, big jumps in 3D, man. It's Excitebike in 3D. You can't ask for more. It's great. Next, South Park. This game is hilarious. Not that great of a game per se, but in multiplayer, it is hours of fun. And it plays in a first-person perspective, so it's kind of making fun of the first-person shooter genre because it's South Park, man. And the cursing is there, the funny jokes, the just outlandish humor is there. Very fun. I'm glad I found it. That's going to be it for part 2. We got another, I'd say, 15 games or so to get through, so I'm going to do a part 3. And I'll see you guys back here for that. God bless. Stay gaming. Peace.